I take it you know who Tamara Leach is, right?
I don't know her personally, but I have read about her.
Yeah, and you know who Chris Barber is?
Again, I don't know him personally, but I've read about him.
Yeah, and you know who Tom Marazzo is, right?
Can you say the third name?
Tom Marazzo, the gentleman over there?
I can't say that I know as much about him or I've heard as much about him.
And what about Danny Bulford? You know who he is, correct?
What was that final last name?
Danny Bulford, he used to be with the security team for the RCMP with the Prime Minister.
I'm afraid I'm not
Okay.
so familiar with that final name.
So,
Tamara Leach and Chris Barber I've heard of, yes.
and when you were making your decision with respect to invoking the Emergencies Act, you'd already heard about Tamara Leach and Chris Barber?
I had heard of their names, yes.
Yeah, and there's some discussions about them in some of the records. There was issues, you knew who they were.
I had read their names in the media.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you knew about that before you invoked the Emergencies Act.
Again, I can't say 100% not having reviewed what I read, but my recollection is they were reasonably prominent, and so I think it's reasonable to think that I would have read their names.
And of course, you know Tamara Leach, she's a Canadian.
Again, I haven't familiarized myself with her
Okay,
biography
and
before
she's-
coming here.
She's from Alberta. Do you know that? Where you're from?
I really haven't studied about her before coming here. I want to be careful that I say things I know for sure are true. I am certainly Canadian, and I'm born in Peace River, Alberta.
Okay. Is Tamara Leach a terrorist?
In terms of designating who is a terrorist and who isn't, that is not my job as Minister of Finance or Deputy Prime Minister.
Okay.
We have authorities whose job is to do that.
Right. And so it's not your authority to designate Tamara Leach, Chris Barber, Tom Marazzo, or Danny Bulford terrorists. That's somebody else has to do that.
Yes, we have intelligence services, we have enforcement agencies whose job is to determine who is a terrorist, and
Okay,
that's
so
entirely appropriate.
Can I bring up
Can I say
document-
one thing about
Yeah,
that?
just a second. If I can bring up document SSM.CAM.00008764_rel.001, please. And you can, while he's pulling that up, if you want to add to your answer. Okay, if we can scroll down to page, I believe this is a note with Dave. What page? 12, page 12, please. And this is a note that I understand you wrote with Dave from CSIS. That's 11. And this is a meeting with Dave from CSIS. And if you scroll down, going. Okay. And there you say that you need to designate the group as terrorists. So,
Maybe not.
but it's not your job, but you wanted to designate them as terrorists, right?
So that handwritten note in my notebook, I can assure you that was not a meeting with the director of CSIS, with whom I didn't have a meeting.
It says, okay, it's with David Vignon from CSIS.
It doesn't say that. It says it's with a gentleman called Dave.
Which Dave?
That meeting, that is not an account of
Which
a
Dave?
meeting with Dave Vigneault because I didn't have a meeting
which Dave is in
with
those
the
notes,
CSIS
ma'am?
director.
Which Dave is in those notes? What's Dave's last name?
I need to see my whole notebook that you're referring to.
I hope you're enjoying this channel as much as I enjoy putting the material on here. This is not just about politics. I sing some of my favorite songs from the Great American Songbook. And you can also watch my latest show where we do some of the news you're not going to hear anywhere else. But please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. If you want to be part of this station, please be a subscriber. We want you.